The Subtle Art of Not Giving AF*CK, A Counterintuitive Approach to Living a Good Life by Mark Manson is a self-help book that challenges conventional wisdom about happiness and success. Drawing on psychological research and personal anecdotes, Manson argues that the key to a good life is not to avoid pain and discomfort, but to embrace it and use it as a catalyst for growth and self-improvement. Get 2 free audiobook from Amazon Audible. The book is divided into 9 chapters, each exploring a different aspect of Manson's philosophy. In the introduction, Manson sets the tone for the book by arguing that we live in a culture that is obsessed with positivity and self-esteem, but that this obsession is ultimately making us miserable. He argues that happiness comes not from avoiding negative experiences, but from learning to accept and embrace them. In Chapter 1, Manson introduces the concept of the subtle art of not giving FCK. He argues that we have a limited amount of FCKs to give in life, and that we should be selective about where we invest our time, energy, and attention. Manson encourages readers to identify their values and priorities, and to focus their efforts on the things that truly matter to them. In Chapter 2, Manson explores the idea of happiness as a problem. He argues that the pursuit of happiness is ultimately futile, because happiness is not a destination, but a byproduct of living a meaningful life. Manson encourages readers to embrace their problems and challenges, rather than trying to avoid or eliminate them. In Chapter 3, Manson introduces the concept of pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. He argues that while we cannot control the pain and suffering that we experience in life, we can control how we respond to it. Manson encourages readers to take responsibility for their own emotions and to cultivate a mindset of resilience and self-reliance. In Chapter 4, Manson explores the idea of the importance of saying no. He argues that we often say yes to things out of obligation or fear of missing out, but that this ultimately leads to feelings of overwhelm and resentment. Manson encourages readers to be more selective about where they invest their time and energy, and to prioritize their own needs and well-being. In Chapter 5, Manson discusses the concept of the value of suffering. He argues that while suffering is painful and difficult, it is also a necessary part of the human experience. Manson encourages readers to embrace their suffering and use it as a catalyst for growth and self-improvement. In Chapter 6, Manson explores the idea of the importance of being wrong. He argues that we often cling to our beliefs and opinions out of a fear of being wrong, but that this ultimately prevents us from learning and growing. Manson encourages readers to be more open-minded and willing to admit when they are wrong. In Chapter 7, Manson discusses the concept of the need for validation. He argues that we often seek validation from others in order to feel good about ourselves, but that this ultimately leads to feelings of insecurity and inadequacy. Manson encourages readers to cultivate a sense of self-worth that is not dependent on the approval of others. In Chapter 8, Manson explores the idea of the importance of embracing failure. He argues that failure is inevitable in life, but that it is also a necessary part of the learning process. Manson encourages readers to embrace their failures and use them as opportunities for growth and self-improvement. In the final chapter, Manson offers practical advice for living a good life. He encourages readers to focus on the things that they can control, rather than wasting their time and energy on things that are beyond their control. Manson also emphasizes the importance of taking action and living according to one's values and priorities. Overall, The Subtle Art of Not Giving AF*CK is a thought-provoking and engaging book that challenges readers to rethink their approach to happiness and success. Manson's no-nonsense style and irreverent humor make the book an enjoyable and entertaining read, while his insightful observations and practical advice make it a valuable resource for anyone looking to live a more meaningful and fulfilling life.